Oh, hi, everyone. Welcome to an introduction to Tai Chi Gung, bringing power to peace through the practice of simple yoga. My name is Dr. Jeannie Grace. I'm a doctor of Oriental medicine and an acupuncture physician for almost 30 years. I'm a certified Tai Chi Gung instructor, and I'm super excited to share with you the value and benefits of this ancient Tibetan and ancient India exercise of Tai Chi Gung. Now, early in my career, I used to be asked all the time, why did I become a doctor of Oriental medicine? And this was my why. This was a picture of my mother at age 45. She died, this was in 1976. She died in 1986, crossed at the age of 55, and she became my why. I just didn't understand how I could lose her so early to cancer, breast cancer, 2 tumors to her brain, and it redirected my life into holistic Oriental medicine. And this was an instrumental little book I found while I was taking care of my mother called Your Face Never Lies. And it was an introduction to Oriental diagnosis, which I'd never heard of. I never had heard of holistic medicine. This is back in the 80s. But this little book redirected my life. A light bulb went off over my head as if God said to me, you must study this. And along the way of moving from Florida to California, I found my holistic medicine path, and it led me also into a doctorate program where I did an extensive study in the difference between Eastern and Western medicines, treatment, and prevention of chronic degenerative diseases. My question was, why did these two medicines look at chronic illness so differently? So my doctorate was obtained through writing this book, Aging Without Illness. Now, life can be short and we're never quite sure when or what might happen to us. So I want to pose this question to all of you now. What do you want from life? My mom's life was cut so short, I don't even think she ever pondered this question. But I want to ask you this question now. Take a few minutes, write in your journals, write on a piece of paper, what do you want from life? And if you're listening to this recording, just pause it for a moment, as long as you need. So, like many of us, I wanted to prevent illness after the loss of my mom. Health was a big deal to me, to preserve it and not let another friend or family member go through the suffering that my mother did. I mean, that really became a directing theme in my life. And certainly money. I always have felt like I never had enough money. And people used to ask me when I entered Chinese medical school, well, how much money are you going to make? And I used to be stopped in my tracks because I never entered Chinese medicine with the thought of money. And I never even knew how much I might make. I just knew I had to do it. Unlike prior to that, I was in the real estate business and just chasing after the money. And fame, well, let's face it, as a little girl, I wanted to be a backup dancer on a stage, but my insecurities just wouldn't let me go in that direction. But I want us to really, if we're honest with ourselves and look below the surface of the superficial cosmic drama on the planet, there really are just two things that everybody wants. Number one, we want to be free from suffering. I want you to think about this, please. We want to be free from suffering once and for all. All the scriptures from all religions express these teachings. Jesus said, "In the world you have tribulation," that is suffering. "But be of good cheer, because I have overcome the world." Krishna in India said, "Get away from the ocean of suffering." And Buddha expressed, "Suffering exists. There is a cause, and that cause can be removed." So what is the cause of suffering? I'm going to narrow it down to one simple word: desire. Think about this. With unfulfilled desires, you can have no peace. When you do not have peace, that is a state of suffering. So absence of peace equals suffering. Now, what else do you want? There is a strong instinct in man for self-preservation. That means no one really wants to die. That is the deep-seated desire. We want eternal existence, but we want it to be blissful. So number two, what we want is infinite supreme bliss. Now, this is something that goes beyond positive emotions of happiness, excitement, inspiration, motivation, creativity. We really deep down want a joy that just doesn't go away. But most of us don't think big enough. But it is truly what we want, but without thinking big enough, how do we obtain it? Well, infinite supreme bliss is also known as God consciousness. It is a joy that doesn't go away. And in India, they have a name in Sanskrit, Sat Chit Ananda. That's the name of God. So if we really look deep, our soul is a part of God within. We are all a part of God. Therefore, we will not rest until we have this bliss. There are two things I want to recap, two things everybody wants: to overcome suffering, to obtain infinite bliss consciousness. And it is truly the essence of all great religious teachings. Now, the question is posed, how do we get it? This world is built on the principle of duality. Science tells us there is no single force in the universe, only contrast. There is no manifestation without duality. So what do I mean by this? Duality is up and down, in and out, birth and death, pleasure and pain. It's a universe that operates in opposites. Yet Jesus said, God said in Isaiah, in the Old Testament, "I have formed the light and created darkness." So in order to have creation, there had to be duality. That is why we cannot find bliss in the things of the world. How do we get it? The solution: to transcend duality, to overcome Maya, which is another Sanskrit word for delusion, duality, to rise above the duality of creation. It is what our greatest spiritual teachers throughout the ages came to show us. How do we do it? Well, usually the aim is to find pleasure in all the nice things in this world and to avoid suffering and darkness. People are hoping to split duality, to cut out the bad from the good, but that simply cannot be done. Where do we find it? Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is within you." And this beautiful Christian Saint Teresa of Avila, she said, "Like a turtle who draws its limbs Into the shell, so must we draw our faculties within, and there you will find it. How do we do that? Well, let's look at the greatest commandment in the Bible. Love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. What does that mean, to love God with all your strength? Have we been taught by the heads of our spiritual and religious organizations what this actually means? I haven't, but it means energy. Energy, chi. It is a principle that is simple, the energy inside your consciousness. Where energy is your consciousness. That was a quote by Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda. Within us, we have spiritual centers of light, which are known as our chakras. They are our centers of consciousness and energy. Here's another, chakras and our endocrine system. Another example of centers of chi, or I should say a visualization of our centers of energy, chi, and consciousness. So this is really important to understand. I want to share with all of you. Our chakras are spiritual centers, energy centers that align in front of our spine. And they do move. Chakra means wheel, so they move in a clockwise direction when they're healthy and in perfect alignment with the spine. And every chakra aligns with an endocrine system. If you look to the left of our physical body, thereby the chakra energies are nourishing and feeding our endocrine, our physical endocrine system. And not only that, the chakras also, they feed the acupuncture meridians. Now, this is how I learned about energy flowing through the meridians of an acupuncture man, that every point, there's over 360, has an action on your physical, your mental, emotional, and your spiritual body. Why or how is that so? Because all three are energy. Everything is energy. Here's another example of chi in an acupuncture illustration. Chi is your intrinsic life force. Aren't we energy beings having a physical experience? Chi, like the rays of the sun, expresses in different ways. The sun gives us X-rays and gamma rays and infrared rays and ultraviolet rays. And so just as chi in the body and around our body, it can be described as lung chi or kidney chi that supports the nature of our organs, the function of our organs. Nature itself is a life-sustaining chi or energy, right? The food from the earth and the air that we breathe. We often do our Tai Chi Gung practice in nature because of its powerful nurturing and regenerative actions. Here's another example of energy centers in relationship to color and to nature. Based on the frequencies of the chakras, those colored circles in the middle of the body, they relate to the vibration, the color and the vibration. And then each chakra relates to an earth element. It's just so powerful because Mother Nature sustains us, and we're this beautiful divine energy being having a physical experience. So now let's talk about why we practice Tai Chi Gung. And this begins to tie it all in my presentation. Tai means grand. Chi means energy, vital life force, and Gung means temple, our body. So the practice of Tai Chi Gung is going to nurture and direct vital life force through this grand, beautiful temple of ours. Tai Chi Gung exercises are based on Hatha Yoga, which is known primarily for its stretching. Kundalini Yoga is chakra balancing, and Pranayama Yoga is breathing. And I just want to remind all of us what yoga actually means. To yoke or to union, it is the union between soul and the infinite, the creator, God, whatever you would like to call your God. And why we practice Tai Chi Gung, to direct the chi by focusing our mind on our breath while we are in movement. The benefits to the practice of Tai Chi Gung, well, there's so many, but these are some of the more immediate ones. If you take to the 45-day renewal, it will increase your focus, you'll have better range of motion throughout your body, you get more energy and strength and stamina, your sleep can improve, your anxiety and nervous system can find relief, and it deepens your practice to connect with your God. Your prayers and meditation get so much deeper. And in a nutshell, it's for health and longevity. I want you to, if you're interested and love the practice of Tai Chi after having a class with me, or take a class if you don't live in the area, we have a website you can check out, teachers in other areas. But discover the greatest health benefits of Tai Chi Gung practice through the 45-day renewal, doing it 45 days, whether you spend 10 minutes or 40 minutes. Every day makes an incredible shift in your being.